Hello and welcome back to another episode of the RotoWire Fantasy Soccer Podcast. My name is Andrew Laird, Senior Soccer Editor of RotoWire. Joined on this Thursday, October 15th by Jordan Cooper to talk about Saturday's huge three-game staggered start time Premier League slate. Jordan.
It's huge for us. We got the 2-1s and then they're going back to the 3 and we don't have lineups, so who cares?
We got really excited before the international break because we thought we were going to have like a massive 5-game slate. It might have even been 6 games because they had already said that the Merseyside Derby was going to be the early one. And we were like, oh, look at this. FanDuel came out with their slate and then all the games changed. FanDuel had to adjust theirs because they didn't think it was good to have a daily fantasy soccer slate that lasted 3 days, including a 7 a.m. Eastern kickoff on a Sunday. But we have at least 3 games on Saturday, all at different times to celebrate.
Yay! And there's one big injury that we're not going to know about until the second game, and it's going to be the linchpin of your entire lineup construction.
I actually don't think it's obviously important, but I think like we have enough like the right pivots that I don't think it's totally detrimental.
No, not necessarily, but I think it'll matter. We're talking about Kevin De Bruyne, right? Like whether or not he's going to start for Man City. He was held out of the international break. But it's going to matter on like what Chelsea pieces you play in the first game. Because if you're going to go up there for like a Werner or something like that, you're not going to have the money because then in the late game you have Bruno Fernandes. So do you play them both together? It's a normal soccer, 3 games at different times, and who knows who's going to play? Who knows if the games are going to play? Who knows who's going to come down positive with COVID an hour before? We don't know.
I think it's actually going to be easier than we're making it seem.
You say that every episode.
I say that every episode.
Like you have positivity, and by the end of it, you're like, well, I'm withdrawing from my confidence.
Right. I'm not going to play a slate. Let's jump into the slate because we've already teased which games they are, but we obviously have some big teams: Man City, Chelsea, Man United.
We have the biggest favorite is Man City -204 at home to Arsenal over 3.25 about. Then Chelsea's a -191 current favorite at home to Southampton. That's a 3 total. And then Man United are a -142 currently away favorite to Newcastle, and that's the lowest total at 2.75. So, for the most part, the slate, you're targeting the favorite teams.
Yeah.
I think that if you're going to go for an underdog, maybe we'll look. I really think you'll look more towards Newcastle, only because the pieces are cheaper.
Yeah.
Than a team like I think for GPPs maybe Arsenal, but they're technically they're the biggest name, but they're the biggest underdog because they're not in comparison to Man City. They're not good.
They're not. They beat them the last time.
Does that mean we have to play Aubameyang? He's questionable. We don't even know if he's going to play.
I think he's going to play. It was like an injury, I think, to get him out of international duty. But I think
at the forward position, we have to start with one thing first. Instead of starting at the top, we have to scroll down. Okay? I don't think it's going to matter because I don't think he's going to start.
Yeah.
He'll probably come on as a sub.
And
but
score.
They priced Sergio Aguero at 5,700. He has the highest goal scoring odds on the slate if he does start. And regardless of my lineup construction, it's the second game, so we're not going to know. He may be the only player that's worth at that price, leading the line for Man City as a -155 anytime goal scoring odds, that I'll switch my lineup around, in the case that he actually does start.
Yeah, I was writing my article. We usually look at Aguero. The only time you think of Aguero in cash games is when they're huge favorites. He's -250 to score. And you're just all right, I'll pony up the 10,000 or 9,600. But he will not get there unless he scores. But at 5,700, his shot floor, I don't know how he's not 100% owned in cash games if he starts.
If only for the people that didn't late swap, or like, because you're not planning for him to start. Like, I'm not building a lineup like I'm not planning for him to start and then switching. I'm expecting him to not start.
Yeah.
That his first game back is not going to be a starting appearance. It's going to be Sterling leads the line and Aguero comes in later.
Yeah, but even so, like, because it's the second game, it's not the last game. Like, it's just a matter of like how heavy you were going to go Chelsea anyway. Like, I don't think you necessarily are getting more Chelsea if like we knew he was starting. Like, you could.
You're most likely you're playing a second Man City.
Right. And so at that point, like, you can, or you're getting like more Man United, or I just think like because they're the second game, it's actually not that bad to build both ways.
So because of that, as well as Kevin De Bruyne's status, do you think that at the forward position, you'd be more likely to, like, because I could see, I mean, at the forward position, essentially, I think like Mahrez stands out at 9,000 for cash games. And then like, there's nothing that I want to play after Mahrez. That isn't just like, whatever, I guess so. I don't think Willian is worth it anymore at 6,900. But what I'm saying is that I could see filling a second forward slot with Werner, Pulisic, one of the front line Chelsea players. But are they that much better than a Rashford or a Greenwood who start in the third game so I don't tie up? Like in the case that De Bruyne does start or doesn't start, like I get more pivotability that, okay, if I play Greenwood over Werner, I'd still rather play Werner, but I'd still much rather play Sergio Aguero.
Right. Yeah.
Or I'd much rather be able to play Kevin De Bruyne if he starts and Bruno and then just punt like literally, if I had to punt with Callum Wilson at 6,000 or Miguel Almiron at 5,300, like I don't think that's the end of the world either. Right? Like if you enter the late game and you're sitting there with Mahrez and you didn't play one of the Chelsea players, and then you're like, oh, okay, Aguero didn't start, and De Bruyne did, and it's like, well, instead of playing like Sterling in the forward slot, I'm going to play De Bruyne in the midfield slot and then just punt at my second forward. I think a lot of people, and unless you have a real good read on what the starting lineups are going to look like, I just don't consider like Werner to be a priority. I mean, if I knew all the lineups and De Bruyne wasn't in and Aguero wasn't in, Werner would probably be the top option. Or maybe even like Hudson-Odoi if he's in at 6,900 if he starts instead of like Pulisic. Like I like those options. It's just that
are you considering
not get all the lineups?
Are you considering that as a second forward because Mahrez is the first one?
Yes.
So if De Bruyne starts, you want to play De Bruyne and Mahrez?
Yes.
Okay. Just wanted to clear that.
What's wrong with that?
No, I agree with you. I just wanted to make sure that's who you were referring to.
Right. No. Mahrez is in the first forward slot no matter what. I mean, on this slate, why? Who else am I playing?
Right,
look at the names here. I'm not playing Danny Ings. I mean, come on. I mean, what?
What about
Willian's not worth anything anymore.
Yeah.
Bukayo Saka, am I going to play him in a forward slot? No.
No, you're going to play Joe Ellington at 3,700.
I didn't even get down there.
Yeah.
Is he going to start? He's not going to start.
Who knows? He might.
Yeah, you're right. But
it's a third game.
If I'm going to play for Callum Wilson at 6,000, I might as well play for Joe Linton.
Yeah. But that's a third game, so you have to, you need other Man United pieces.
Well, that's the whole point of not playing the Chelsea player in the forward slot.
Right.
Because if De Bruyne plays, then there you go.
Yeah.
Because can you make a build? Because if you're going to make a build with Mahrez and another higher price forward, like you can't play both De Bruyne and Fernandes.
No. You have to really hope that De Bruyne doesn't play.
Right. But if you had a choice between De Bruyne and Fernandes, you play De Bruyne. I mean,
yeah.
I
think it's closer than you're making it feel.
I don't think it is.
No? Okay.
If I have a chance to play a 10-5 De Bruyne and a 10,000 Bruno Fernandes, I'm playing De Bruyne every 10 out of 10 times in cash games.
But what if you're playing 70 minutes of De Bruyne versus 90 of Bruno?
Well, I don't know that. How do we know that he's
coming in with an injury? They played next week.
Oh, okay, he's coming in with injuries and played 90 minutes.
You're right.
What does that have to do with anything? What happens if we get a Chelsea lineup and Hakeem Ziyech is in? I mean, now we're going at midfield. I mean, no, we're bouncing around. It's a 3-game slate.
Yeah. What else can we say about forward?
Right. They're all garbage.
Yeah. Right.
For a floor perspective, they're all garbage, kind of.
Yeah. I think there's a scant chance that William Smallbone starts.
Oh,
is that his name? William?
I believe so.
Yeah. He's 4,200 and in the first game, which... There's part of me that's like, I would never play him because he's in the first game and that's just like taking up a spot. But on the other hand, it's also essentially maximizing my salary for the next 2 games.
Yeah, but then De Bruyne will be out and then you'll be sitting there with $5,000 in salary they can't spend.
No, because I can play Sterling and like any Man City option I can play in a midfield other than Aguero. And if he starts, I'm putting him in anyway.
Right. Okay. I'm not going to small.
Okay. Well, we were talking about possibly playing Joe Ellington, and he's just slightly.
But
more
he's in a late game. It's like I'm gonna have a choice of either playing Joe Ellington or somehow submitting a lineup without a spot in it. Like it's gonna get to that point. So, like, I have to play someone.
Okay.
If you told me before the slate, before the show, that we're gonna spend 30 seconds on who's better, Smallbone or Joe Linton, like the answer is it doesn't matter. Just he's the cheapest forward. You're essentially just punting with whoever the cheapest forward is.
But it matters in the sense that whether you want to use that spot
I will use
in the first game or the late game.
Do I want to prioritize Smallbone? Does that sound right?
All right.
Well, I gotta use Smallbone now in case I don't get him later. Like right. Who says that? Come
on. The Chelsea situation could be like the messiest we ever see. Like
I like it that it's the first game though.
Right, exactly. That certainly helps. If Ziyech starts,
I can't. On the context of the slate, I can't play him at 8,700 in my cash lineup
because we just don't know.
And there's other options. It's not like we have no other options.
Like if this was a Champions League slate, and Chelsea was just as much of a favorite over Ludogorets than Southampton, like he would be 10,000.
No, I agree with you. But is he going to be on all set pieces?
Right.
Is he going to play 90 minutes? And the fact that we have Bruno and Kevin De Bruyne on the slate. Like if you tip those other 2 on the slate, and now we're talking about like the highest 8,700. Like we have one of those slates where James Ward-Prowse is that price also, and then Dwight McNeil is 8,000. Like okay. Like, but I have options to fill in my midfield slots. Do I want to spend 8,700 on Ziyech and bypass both KDB and Fernandes? I can't see doing that. Okay. I don't think he starts anyway, so it doesn't matter.
I agree. I think Mount's actually the more interesting one, but
how do you fit him in?
You only fit him in if De Bruyne doesn't start, and we don't know that.
And we're not going to know that, right? So that's. Don't you love the split start times? How do you guys play MLS like this? It's ridiculous.
No, MLS, they stopped it. MLS is like...
Oh, they're all playing at the same time now?
It's within 30 minutes.
Okay.
Which obviously means...
but they don't release the lineup.
I was just about to say, which means we get 17 minutes.
They don't even do it on time, so whatever.
I think technically...
If you don't play Mason Mount, let's say you plan to play Mason Mount, he's not in, you could always put in Phil Foden at 7,000.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I just don't think you're in this range. I think you're paying up or you're paying down at midfield.
Mm-hmm.
Like what other players in this range? Like if you're playing Bernardo, if Bernardo happens to start, you're probably playing him in a forward slot. So it doesn't matter at 7,500.
I'm not playing Bernardo.
Okay. And yet James Ward-Prowse is 6,400 as an underdog against Chelsea.
I think
he's playable.
Yeah, I agree. That's how I would put it. If they were at home, I probably would have felt a little bit better. I was more looking at Ryan Fraser.
I was looking more at John Joe Shelby.
But I was going to say, John Joe Shelby is the reason why I don't play either Fraser or Ward-Prowse.
Right, at 4,900. Newcastle is at home, and they're the least of the underdogs.
Mm-hmm.
So 4,900 Richie's out. I mean, we saw even in the last game where Frazier wasn't taking set pieces. I mean,
I think at the very least, even if Frazier starts, they share, and Shelby probably takes more anyway. So like, he does a little more. He's much cheaper. Like I think Shelby should be popular in cash.
Right.
But I like everyone between Ward-Prowse and Shelby. Not that it's a long list, but I don't know how you play any of these guys.
Well, I think Shelby's floor is just as high as James Ward-Prowse's floor in this matchup anyway, so just $1,500 left.
Yeah, that's fair. I was going to bring this up earlier with Willian. Like, the Man City defense has been awful, but they're awful in terms of giving up goals.
Not giving up corner kicks.
Exactly, right? Exactly. Like, they just don't – they still have so much possession that, like, Willian – gets his points by like corners and free kicks, and if you're not going to win those, now you're playing him to score a goal or get an assist, and that's not the point of playing him.
Right, or and you don't play him, you play Ceballos at 4,600 instead.
Well, Willian, I was saying, fills the forward spot.
Right. Well, that's what makes Willian more attractive in general.
Yeah.
Historically, is because he fills a forward spot.
Right.
But I don't mind playing a lot any of these kind of cheapo midfielders. I mean, if De Bruyne is not in, we'll get Gundogan. And
he's really cheap for. I mean, I hate playing him, but it's much different playing him at 4,000 than like 6,200 when people play him and get bailed out.
Right, but he should be over some dead balls. With Mahrez, right?
I would assume
he's
Mahrez
4,000 anyway.
But that's what it is. It's 4,000.
Right, yeah. It's 4,000, and he at least get forward. Because if like Rodri's in also, like Gundogan won't have as much defensive responsibility.
They could
so
play
4,000. You're getting a Man City midfield.
I mean, they could play Gundogan with Rodri and Fernandinho, and then you know that like he doesn't have to play a lick of defense that game.
Right.
Yeah,
we're not going to know till the second game.
Right.
I'm highlighting all the fact of like why tie your lineup down with Chelsea players, except for maybe one. And the one is going to depend on who starts.
Right.
But, I mean, you could go down. I mean, like, Conte is 3,100.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, as a cheap player, I mean, I never mind playing him. Typically, he'd be like 4,200 or something.
Yeah, that is cheap for the matchup. I don't mind Thomas Partey if he starts 3,400. And Arsenal's probably going to have to do some defensive work in that Man City game. So.
But wouldn't I'd just rather play Fernandinho then at the same price.
I don't know if he's going to have to do anything, though.
Doesn't matter. He could get on the end of an assist or some long shot or something.
I mean, we're arguing between like, do I want 2 points or 3.5?
Right. We're arguing between Smallbone and Joe Linton, essentially here.
Right.
Right. I mean, you could play Isaac Hayden in the late game, 3,400. It's the same type of.
Yeah.
You're essentially playing the same type of player.
Yeah.
Matic, same thing.
I think Hayden and Partey move up a little bit more. I don't know. They're all. They're all junk.
Points out of them, that's it.
Yeah. But you need to play one of these guys if you're going to try to play De Bruyne, Bruno, and maybe Mahrez.
Right. But even then, if you play that construction, you'll still have to punt it forward.
Yeah. Right. It's going to be the obvious De Bruyne, Mahrez, Bruno, Smallbone, Hayden lineup. I don't know how that looks.
Joe Linton, you play Smallbone and Joe Linton.
Oh, right. Of course.
You do both of them, and then you lose by 20 points.
20? They take up both forward spots, though. Now you don't even need. Now you play Mahrez in a midfield spot.
Now that's a dinky do that I will not get behind.
We finally found one.
So at defense, there's only going to be one defender worth paying for, and we're not going to know who that is until the first game.
Yeah, but it's the first game.
Right, but I'm saying it's going to be Chilwell or James, right? I mean, like.
It sounds like it's not going to be Chilwell.
Okay, so then it's going to be James.
There's hesitancy on James that he plays on the other side, like he plays as the left back in Chilwell's spot, as Piliqueta plays on the right, which like theoretically he still takes set pieces, but he may not actually be open play crossing as much because he's on the other side of the field. But I don't think it matters.
I don't think it matters either. But I mean, outside of the Chelsea situation, I mean, we're not expecting Alex Telles to start for Man United, right? Yet.
Even if he starts, I don't think we're expecting set pieces. Like, you only play Alex Telles if they have set pieces.
Right. But, I mean, we've known from Champions League play that If Alex Telles is 7K or below, you just play him. But he doesn't play for Sevilla anymore.
No, Porto.
Or Porto. One of those teams. I always get because Sevilla also has the attacking fullbacks. It's like Escudero was there.
Yeah.
Now, I'm used to. I can't wait for. I have to look at Champions League because finally we get. Oh, I could play 8 defenders, and I feel like I want to play them.
That's right.
This slate, it's like, do I want to pay 5,200 for Wan-Bissaka? No, I don't.
No, I think Azpilicueta is the only other one you pay up for, and I only say that because I absolutely never play him. And anytime there's like a scant possibility that I play him and I don't, is the game he has 11 crosses and 2 assists. But I'm probably not playing him again.
Right, but I mean, are we gonna take the trap Mendy again? Yellow card and nothing and negative points.
Everyone's like, he's so fast though. I'm like, I don't get points for running, so no, I don't.
No, Mendy's fine. I mean, hey, if you had a choice between Mendy or Luke Shaw, I mean, you're essentially playing the same type of guy. As far as floors.
Floors, yeah. No,
right.
Shaw took a corner last game, I think.
Oh, wow. Okay, now we have to hop on board.
Right.
You're making the same mistake I do.
He should be 5,600.
One corner guy. Right, exactly.
Let me see here. 3 of them. Bruno came off at the half.
I mean, you could play Shaw. I mean, it's okay. But I don't mind on this slate to go down and just like, I could play Ruben Diaz or Harry Maguire or 3,200. You just pay for a favorite center back.
I mean, Manquillo is at least a fullback at 3,400 if you want to lock in those 1.5 points.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, the number. I mean, obviously there are only so many fullbacks you can play on a 3-game slate, but the fact that we don't want to play any of them, I think you just play the cheapest guy.
Right. I think you're paying like 1,500 for an extra floor of 1 point.
Right.
Is it worth doing that?
Probably.
If you're fine where you are and you have money for Bendy or Shaw or something, okay, that's fine. But I mean, the difference in their floor versus the $3,200 center backs, just you need the money.
But I'm saying if you're going to play a $3,200 center back, why not just play a $2,500 one?
Well, I want to play a favored one that has some some header goal upside. Clean sheet equity. I'll make.
Look at these teams. There's no clean sheet equity on this slate.
Come on, look, the win. Yeah, well, maybe not.
What is it? 35% is the highest one.
All I know is that if
it's not even Man City.
If Mendy for Chelsea is injured, don't play the back line for Chelsea for clean sheet equity because that means Kepa will probably start.
Oh, that Mendy. Sorry,
right, Edouard Mendy.
Yeah. No, yeah.
The good Mendy. The good Mendy. We should just call him the good Mendy.
Leicester has one. And Palace, he's pretty good. I don't know.
Not as good as the goalkeeper.
Yeah. There was an article the other day about the reason Azpilicueta started over Reece James in the last game before the international break is because he speaks French. And so does Thiago and Kurt Zouma, and Mendy speaks French. So that's why Reece James didn't play.
Normally?
There is no. That's the only game we have with Mendy back there. They were trying to make it easier for Mendy to come in, so they all spoke French during the match.
Ah, okay. Well, he's gonna have to learn some English.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say James is gonna have to learn French.
Right, or one of the two.
Mm-hmm. I don't think Ben Chilwell speaks French, but that's probably just an assumption.
What are you talking about back there that you need? What are you having? Just long conversations about what?
Oh,
world history. I mean,
pass me the ball.
Right. I mean,
man on.
Right. Get there. Go there. Do this. I mean, essentially, the goalkeeper's a traffic cop. It's stop, go, whatever. I mean,
I don't know what stop and go are in French, but maybe they're very different. I took Spanish growing up.
So let the other people let Reece James learn just the 4 French words he needs to know.
Yeah. Anyway, there's that. I don't see.
So maybe that's why I don't play him. If Reece James is in, I can't play Mendy a goalkeeper because I'm afraid that he'll make a defensive mistake.
That's right. And get pulled.
We found the edge.
What if it ends up being Emerson or Alonso?
I'll play Alonso at 4,700.
But does that make you play Mount because he should be on set pieces?
I don't know if I'm able to even fit in Mount. How do you fit in Mount in a lineup where you're playing Mahrez and either one of De Bruyne or Bruno Fernandes? You can.
You can. You just have to play one of them, though. It's Mahrez, one of De Bruyne and Bruno, and Mount.
Oh, then you punt
because you're not playing James, right?
Right. So then you're punting both defender slots.
Well, not. I mean, I'm looking at it here.
You're looking at it.
It's ugly, but.
Oh, that's why I don't want to do it because I'm plugging in Mahrez there, and then I'm plugging in, let's see, De Bruyne there, and then where's Mount?
I mean, you can play Alonso with him.
You can play Alonso and Mount together, and then this is not horrible.
Yeah, see, it's not that bad.
You put that guy in there. You put Shelby in. Let's see what this looks like. And then obviously you're gonna have to play like Almiron or small, but you're gonna have to play like a 6K forward or something.
Not if you completely punt. Like, go to 2,500 for your defender.
Oh, I don't want to do that.
We'll go to, what did we say?
Who do I play at my second forward slot? See, exactly. You have no clue.
You need a punt, one of the punt midfielders. That's why. It's Mount
but I want to use Shelby. I want to use De Bruyne. I want to use Mount. I want to use Shelby. Now I'm stuck at Callum Wilson in my forward spot. That makes me feel good, right? I mean, it's doable. It's much more doable than I made it out before.
Yeah.
I thought it was like not. I thought this is definitely a small bone lineup.
It can be.
It can be. It's close to it.
Yeah.
But I think the popular goalkeeper will be Darlow.
Yes.
If you're going to pay down, you probably play the cheapest homekeeper. And if you're playing Bruno even against him, who cares? Like, his floor could get there without scoring a goal.
I just don't see the build where you're paying up.
Well, I mean, I could see it. It doesn't mean I do it. I mean, you can.
I don't see why you would do it.
You could pay up if De Bruyne doesn't start. You're playing like Gundogan and Shelby in your midfield spots.
Oh.
What? And Fernandes and Bruno.
Right.
And then you have Mahrez in there. Yeah, you could pay up a goalkeeper.
Yeah, I guess you still play Gundogan. I'm like, you don't even need him at that point, but I guess you play him just because. Like, would you rather play? It's not quite the same, but would you rather play Alonso or Gundogan?
Alonso, because he fills a defender slot, and I don't have to punt at I don't have to play a center back.
Right. Like, because you can play Bruno and Shelby. Like, forget about De Bruyne, but like you know that you have at least two midfielders. So like forcing in Gundogan, which just always feels like a force, but maybe he's so cheap that it doesn't matter. But like
4,000 is still better than defenders at that range. What defenders do I want to play other than whoever starts for Chelsea that potentially is on set pieces? That's it.
You're right.
So if I can play Alonso and what are we talking about?
I'm just trying to not even consider Gundogan. That's why.
Why? What's wrong with Gundogan?
He's awful.
Who cares if he's awful?
Right. Well, that's the point. He's 4,000 in a Man City.
He's going to start, and they're going to have Fernandinho and Rodri back there?
Maybe.
He's essentially playing as the box-to-box mid. I mean, come on. He's 4,000 for Man City.
Yeah.
Unless they make some weird formation where, like, Ferran Torres is in and Foden plays in that role, and you don't get Gundogan at all.
Right.
Then you try to withdraw contests in the middle of the slate.
Oh, Torres is just midfield eligible, which has to change soon. That's stupid.
Right. If Bernardo Silva is going to be midfield forward, he might as well be midfield forward also.
Right. Yeah.
It's just so much easier if they made KDB midfield forward, then we wouldn't have to bother with any of this. But that at least there's a reason for it because he's a midfielder. That's what he should be.
Right. Havertz should definitely be forward eligible.
Right, Havertz has been a midfielder ever since for years.
Yeah.
Why does that exist?
Right. He starts literally as a center forward sometimes, and yet he's still midfield.
Just be glad that DraftKings is able to score the contest.
We think.
Oh, DraftKings will be able to. If you're playing on FanDuel, you're gonna have to Get yourself an abacus and self score that. And
no, I think we're actually, for those of you who listen to this and play FanDuel, even though anything we talk about really doesn't apply there at all. I think Opta is like separate enough. Like Stats owns Opta now, but I think the Opta feeds and everything are okay. So like we didn't have any issues with MLS this past weekend. So
no issues with MLS, but NFL, nope, couldn't do it.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. We got anything else? What a garbage.
Other than since we talked about it a bunch, that's a guaranteed small bone goal.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I think it's actually, yeah, you're right. It's probably more likely to happen than the Joe Linton goal. Small bone. Do you think people will play him? Like a $4,200 forward in the first game of the slate?
I don't know.
No? Okay.
I think more people will just play Werner, play one of the forwards from the game, and only play one of De Bruyne and Fernandez, and then just like you could make a build where you're punting at goalkeeper and at both defender slots, and you're just trying to jam in everything and your utility. Like I could probably build it. Like you probably can't even play Shelby in that lineup. You have to play like Isaac Hayden in your utility slot. Like I think I'm more likely to see those lineups.
But you're paying down at goalkeeper to get all of the goal scorers.
Right, but who cares? I think it saves. It doesn't matter. What?
I guess. I'm just saying, like, that's not the upside play.
I'm not saying that's a smart play, but I see plenty of dumb lineups. So, like, yeah, I'm just looking to predict what's going to be there, not whether or not you should do it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fair. All right, so small bone Ings, front line. That seems easy.
Right. You gotta correlate them together, obviously.
James Ward-Prowse. Okay.
Are you gonna just stack Southampton?
Yeah.
If Kepa starts, that's an option.
For sure.
Right. They paid $75 million for him. Great.
Just money. Not even ours.
Right. Are you gonna tell people on the podcast that this is a video now?
I guess
they're listening to it. They could watch us.
Right. If you're already 30 whatever minutes in, you could have spent this whole time looking at us and listening.
Well, they could look at us in the future by subscribing to the RotoWire YouTube channel.
See, you're much better at this than I am.
I don't even work for the company yet. I know how to promote the stuff.
That's right. YouTube.com/RotoWire. Go subscribe. I believe you're supposed to like everything that we do as well, whether you actually like it or not.
It's called the thumbs up, Andrew.
I mean, isn't that the like button?
I have no idea. There's a thumbs down, and apparently, according to the YouTube algorithm, they don't care either way. So thumbs down me all you want.
Oh, really? They just look for interaction?
As long as you press on something. It's one of those, just move your mouse around and click on some buttons, and it supposedly helps us. It gets us above whatever,
all the other DraftKings soccer podcasts out there.
Right, or whatever you're watching. If you're watching, a skateboarder getting hit in the nuts, whatever, it comes now this video comes a little bit higher above.
Right. Is a small bone the lead into that skateboard video?
He's not even going to start now. We've done it so much that we're going to look at the lineups and small bones on the bench.
Yeah, it's going to be Theo Walcott.
My lineup is screwed.
Yeah, now it's Walcott, who's back to being just midfield eligible.
Why? Do people that set the positions at DraftKings watch soccer?
Based on some information I've heard, the answer is no.
I'm assuming you heard from a person that used to watch soccer that was at DraftKings.
Who also used to work there.
Right.
I will neither confirm nor deny my sources here. Got to keep them private. Anyway, anybody wants to follow up with Jordan, you can find him on Twitter at Blenderhead. That's BlenderHD. You can find me at RotoWire Andrew. Jordan is also. Can you explain to us the enhanced Theory of DFS podcast that I'm going to have to compete with now for all those people who have already bought the extra podcast that you're doing now for the Theory of DFS?
Oh, it's a free podcast. It's on Tuesdays. You can just search in iTunes Theory of Daily Fantasy Sports Podcast. It's me and Eric Beimfor. It's more laid back, just going through decision making that on previous slates and talking game theory and what we were thinking in the lineup construction and any other questions you could have. So it's like the application of the audio course that I put out, but just like okay, this is the thought process in an actual environment,
practical sense, yeah,
right? In a practical sense, rather than, well, here's these 20 concepts, and then now you have to apply them because but every slate is different, so it's kind of like Eric had some thoughts, I had some thoughts, and we basically hang out on Tuesdays for an hour or so and either gloat over why we were right or cry over why we were wrong.
Perfect. All right. You can also get that masterclass, theoryofdfs.com. For anybody who is looking to get some more from RotoWire, you can go to rotowire.com/pod. That gets you 10 free days to the site. Check out everything, all the tools that Jordan and I use to prepare for this podcast and for all of our soccer slates. So feel free to check that out. Jordan, thank you for all that, and good luck this weekend.